pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an agenda in front of us. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any additions or corrections?
No.
All in favor of agenda as written, say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Public comment. Anybody for public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to approval of the minutes from February 24th. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
No.
Alrighty. All in favor of the minutes as printed, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Move to approve claims.
Second.
Any additions or corrections on the claims?
No.
All in favor of the claims, say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye.
Just have the one.
We have two staff additions.
There's the other one.
Move to approve Jacob and Selena Egan.
Second.
Selena in the Sheriff's Department and Jacob in Secondary Roads. Both were stepping. Any other discussion? All in favor of the two new hires, say aye.
Aye.
Or adjustments, say aye. Sorry.
Move to approve the amendment to the food service agreement with Summit Food.
Second.
Second. Discussion. So Dan, you just want to just give us a little briefing on the Summit Foods?
Yeah,
Why don't you
it's
come
kind of
up,
a
Dan?
normal thing every year. Every year, that contract comes due in March. And the one year it went up well more than 5%, but it's 5% again this year. So you'll see the numbers. I think we're sitting with 60-some total inmates right now. So if you look at that 60 on the sheet, that's about what we pay per meal then.
Yeah, between 51 and 60 is kind of
Yeah.
your spot where I see that you're.
Yeah, I think last month we were pushing 47 or 48 average for feds alone. But then the rest are our own inmates, so. It's kind of a normal thing, but it's been for that percentage.
But 5%
type.
increase, are you okay with that? I mean.
Yeah, I've checked with other counties to see what they do, and it's like, some have switched companies, and what do? They go back because let's face it, the food is not 100% that, but we have to go through a dietitian, so they get what the dietitian says, and some are always happy with that, but I think in general, they do a decent job for us. I mean, and if you're comparing what some others have experimented with, and then they go back to Summit again. So I even looked at if we have our
How often
own.
do you go out for bid?
We don't. I've had people come in and I said, okay, here's where we're kind of at, and they can't touch it.
Okay.
I even looked at maybe having our own people. Well, then you do the math. You do one employee, carry it over. This is 300,000. You'd have to have at least 3 people. You wouldn't have any money for food. I mean, if you added in insurance and everything else.
Yeah.
So I think it's a reasonable, and again, I budgeted only 3, but obviously it's going up 5, so, but I think we'll be.
And we may
Okay.
get, if we do get an increase in our federal.
Yeah, and
reserve,
hopefully
that
we will.
Yeah.
And I did, when I sent that in, they said it could be, you take your turn, and I remember the last time it took a while to do it, and I talked to some other counties too, they're not even submitted because I know the last time we come back, it went back and forth for weeks, and when you send all your expenses in, I don't know how they do their calculation, but they were showing that we only had $72 coming, and that's what they wanted to give us. I kind of held straight on it because I knew another county that is not too far away was getting 83, and we do everything for them. And so then once they checked with the guys in CR, they said if that's what they're asking, we need them, and they approved it. So I did ask for 25. I don't know, again, they're going to come back, and they're not going to give us 25, but I'm sure they'll come back with something, hopefully. So
Good.
That's my hope, so.
And once again, this is effective March 1st.
Yeah.
So this, even a couple months of this fiscal year plus next fiscal year.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And that's how it does it every year, so you kinda, I mean, you know, way back, we were way over on the food, and then when we were short inmates for a while, we had overage on food, and then when you get more back again, it just fluctuates back and forth, so.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor of reviewing, allow the board chair to sign the agreement of food service partnership agreement with Summit Foods, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, discussion of, move to discussion act on Bremer County weapons policy signage. Darius, you just wanted, he forwarded this on to me. This came from Jessica Fox on February 23rd. And so why don't you give us the
Yeah.
nuts and bolts?
So, what was it, 3 years ago now, Corey came as a proponent of Bremer County having a policy kind of in recognition of the new Iowa Constitutional Amendment 1A. For weapons, just saying that, you know, we kind of supported it and people could carry, as is their constitutional right. But we kind of ran into issue with the judicial branch because we are a dual-use courthouse. And so them being a separate branch of government, they have their own policies. And so we crafted this, you guys passed the policy in 23, and which basically said, okay, well, you know, we'll put up signs and we're going to limit in those areas which are under the control. And there's been some legislative movement, some legislative changes over the last couple of years, and so the judicial branch just put out this new notice from Jessica Fox, who's the clerk of court, basically outlining, saying, okay, well, weapons are prohibited in the courtrooms and court offices, except for those exceptions there. And so
Definition of court offices.
I would take that as court offices. Court offices meaning court offices, so.
Second floor.
Well, no, not all of it now. I would say the secure areas of there that are controlled exclusively by the judicial branch and the clerk of court's office proper.
Second and third floor.
Minus your office.
Well,
I see this as a more liberal approach than what we had.
yeah, this is
the lobbies.
we're actually opening up spaces. So technically, the spaces, the lobby space on the second floor, and the lobby space basically on the third floor, because that is joint use between my office, which is county.
Specifically,
Yeah.
it's not for Missy's office or Adam's office or
No.
Shelley's office.
No.
Okay.
So, I mean, we would actually we're getting out of the business, basically, of regulating this other than what's already in statute or code. The sheriff's office is, I think, the biggest area there, but we would be opening up more space, and we would basically be saying, judicial branch, you guys, and that's kind of been our policy, as my office is the biggest user of the second floor, basically, from a county perspective. We've always taken the policy that that's judicial branch's policy. If they want to, if there's an issue, unless it's an actual crime going on, the judicial branch has to make the calls. We just leave the area. So.
Yeah, I have no issue with this. I think from our policy standpoint, our policy had dual intent. It also talked about securement and storage of weapons by
Yep.
employees. So I think we could look at amending our policy.
And that's what I've included here. Basically, I just stripped out that and
The signage language.
the signage language, and I think we could take down the signs. At least for our part.
Yes, Might hear what the sheriff has to say, if anything. Is this a permissible or is this acceptable policy for you, Sheriff, or
I haven't even seen it.
why wouldn't we have the sheriff review something like this?
I didn't.
Why would we?
Let's,
This is between the sheriff's office and the judicial branch.
let's give them a policy. Can you just,
Yeah.
so you want to amend our, you're seeking to amend our policy and 3 points. Are allowed to carry concealed weapons or open weapons in all Bremer County facility and grounds unless otherwise restricted by law, i.e. the courts. B, weapons must be in the physical possession of individual employee or brought the weapon to the Bremer County property with the exception of law enforcement place their weapons in a specially designated area. Bremer County not be responsible for storage of weapons brought by individuals or employees. And the last one, the Bremer County Law Center and the area that are controlled by Bremer County Sheriff's Office will follow the Iowa constitutionalities, allows those that have the right to carry in the Sheriff's Office with exception of security areas of the jail pursuant to blah, blah, blah. Okay.
No, Dewey, I didn't have Adam or Missy review it either. Is that okay?
I don't know. Doesn't do any good anyway. As long as it's not becoming more restrictive, I'm fine.
I think we're open, we're getting out of business.
But,
I
you know,
think
you
what's-
specifically
I
have
think
a section C that addresses the sheriff's office. You don't have a section D and E that addresses the other officers of the court. I just don't know why you wouldn't have those people review it. You know, you don't have total autonomy over everything that happens in the county. The other elected officials do as well, so.
Well, that's why-
move to approve.
It's your courthouse.
Move to approve.
That we're just approving the policy, so I just want to clarify. I would second that.
We are
The
amending
policy.
our policy, and then we're going to instruct them to remove our signage because of the policy.
Well, the action item doesn't, it
I
just
didn't
says
know
policy
anything about the
signage,
policy.
it doesn't say
It's just
amend
about signage,
policy.
so I can add back the policy for next week.
And then that would give the sheriff time to review it, to Dewey's point. So
Yep.
I would be, so we have his consent at least. I'm
I
good
think it
with that.
looks fine to me.
Let's put it on next week if you're okay with that for the policy itself, but
I'm fine.
the signage, I'll second Dewey's motion.
Okay, so signage will remove our signage and just replace it with this, and we'll come back next week to make a.
Well, we're not replacing anything.
We don't have currently signage out?
We have signage.
We're removing it,
We're
is all.
getting rid of it.
Yes.
County signage.
We'll remove the county signage and the court will do their own signage.
Yep.
Okay. That's the motion. So all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We good?
I'm good with it.
Okay. So next week we'll have the amending of the policy. Darius, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
work.
Thank you, Darius.
You're welcome. Okay. We just got a couple minutes. Anything for budget updates? Cassandra gave us a ton of paper over the weekend by pulling out insurance. Anything else other than?
I went ahead and adjusted our local option sales tax expenses with Myron giving an estimated timetable of when dollars will be spent on project for the courthouse phase 2, with the bulk of all dollars being spent by the end of FY27. So I went ahead and updated local option sales tax, and I updated our Department 99 for spending those bond proceeds if we go through with the courthouse remodel. So those were updates that I did, and I gave you, the budget is all entered and ready to go. If you look on, let's see if I can find it in here. I'll have to go in and grab the notice that's gonna go out to the public, because I wanna make sure everyone's okay with the language on it. Last year we were criticized for being too generic, so I will give you that updated language before you guys leave today, and then this will go to the papers today for next week.
Okay.
Is this budget sustainable?
No,
Thank you.
no, it's not. And I also forwarded to you, I was part of the Iowa State property tax meeting yesterday, and yeah, it's not looking too good for what's being proposed and how we're gonna fund it. One thing for you guys to really consider is I think they are gonna push more of our local option sales tax to supplement what we can't in property taxes. And I
just
don't
to
know that we can do that.
Yeah, and just to clarify Dewey's part, you're kind of highlighting that we're taking more out of our general fund ending balance. That's really what you're,
My point is that we're spending too much. It's not sustainable. It's simply not. And, you know, tough decisions are gonna have to be made. We're just spending too much. We're giving way too much in pay increases, we're spending too much in other areas, and we're talking about a building addition that we can't afford, and it's just, we're spending too much, so.
okay. But I also heard we want to spend down some of our ending balance because we're holding too much.
We will spend it down, but we'll spend it down fast.
Yes.
We can't
So-
continue to do that year after year is the point.
Correct, and with the wages where they're going to be, you're on that path. You will hit a
That's
cliff
my
and you're
point,
gonna
so
fall
is it
off.
sustainable? And
No, you're gonna
what
have
do you
to
pay-
make
how do you
changes
pay
to
for it next year?
personnel.
All right. And we'll kind of bypass any other things, but we do want to see that verbiage
Yes, and
before,
then
and then
that's
we'll,
where you will,
and
just
we'll,
present me.
okay, and then we'll bypass board committee updates right now, and we'll go to Lindley Sharp.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I am here to talk about just the opioid fund and approval for some opioid fund projects for this fiscal year yet, and maybe some in the new fiscal year. So I have 3 events coming up. We have a senior resource fair and the Bremer County Community Partners Family Fun Fair. So what we would like to do for those events is give out those doTERRA pouches. But in order to give those out, right when people walk in the door at these events, we'll be there. We'll give them a tote bag that has that in there, a medication disposal flyer, and then there's a Ziploc bag project for the Family Fun Fair that I don't know if we're actually gonna use, so I put that on there, but that might be a cost that we don't move forward with. So the first quote, and I added this as a separate page, again, it's those doTERRA pouches that you dump your drugs into and it deactivates it. So looking for a quantity of 2,000 of those. And then if you move forward through the other pages, there is a medication or a shopping bag that's reusable. So at these events, when they pick everything up, they've got a bag to hold it in, but it also holds our materials. And what it has is safe homes start with safe medication disposal wording, and then it has a medication disposal box. And then our education is the do's and don'ts of medicine disposal, and it just goes over some education on the front of that. And then on the back of that is prescription drug drop box locations in Bremer County that are listed on the Iowa Prescription Drug Box website. So that's the Bremer County Sheriff, Center Pharmacy in Waverly, Clayton Drug and Sumner, Denver Drug, Hy-Vee, and Meyer. And then if they don't see their pharmacy listed, they can call. And then it also shows where they can get those free doTERRA drug deactivation pouches with who we've partnered with. And then it's just a note that that's not comprehensive and that list can change over time. And then at the bottom of the page, it gives opioid settlement information of how all this stuff is being paid for. So when they have that bag, they know that most of those materials were paid through the opioid settlement fund. And then the next one is a Ziploc storage bag. So at the family fun fair, they wanted to give out like bagged lunches. It won't change that design, but what we want to do is an imprint on there that says your actions matter, dispose of meds safely. So all in together, all of those items would be $18,760.38. And hopefully we could get through to the Bremer County Fair too and use those same things for a booth there during the summer.
Lily, I applaud you. Great work. I was concerned about how we were gonna spend opioid dollars,
No.
and this makes total sense. I will tell you also that the packet you gave for disposal of medication, I think either here or
It was here.
was laying at our home, and my wife had a bunch of meds yesterday that she was going through to get rid of from the process that she's been going through. And she used it, and she said, is there any way we could get another one of those for the
Yeah.
future?
We-
And I said, I'll ask, but,
We've,
this makes total
Yeah,
sense.
giving them out frequently at foot clinics, and people are asking for more because, I mean, they just keep stuff in their med cabinets. We don't think of, oh, that's expired, I need to get
Right.
rid of that, but it's not safe to dump down the trash or dump down the toilet, so,
Or you go to the doctor and they change your medications.
Yeah,
and
frequently.
you don't ask for your old ones back, so.
so.
This all makes total sense to me, and
All of these are still within the budget. I had allocated $100,000 for expenses, and even with this, we, as of, today, we're only around 32,300, so, we're well under what that spending.
move to
would like.
approve the recommended expenditures of $18,760.38.
I'll second your motion.
First and second, I just had one comment on the flyer, it says Center Pharmacy. Can we put Waverly Hospital?
Yeah, I can change it.
And then is that typically what you do? You don't get the artwork and just print it here yourselves?
This is all on Vistaprint, so this is the design, and if I need to edit something, before I purchase it, I can put Waverly Health Center, Center Pharmacy on there.
I didn't know if you printed things local at the printery or.
Yeah, we do. For this project, I was just gonna do it on Vistaprint because it was cheaper, but we do use them frequently as well.
Great. We have first and second, all in favor of these expenses, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great, you just have a couple minutes. We had a HIPAA meeting. You want to just, rather than me give a gloss, every gloss, you want to have you just want to talk a little bit about HIPAA.
Yeah, so HIPAA, I have been looking at that pretty intently now for, I don't know, since June. My biggest struggle right now is the guidance that we've gotten from ISAC is very outdated. And our positions and our departments have all drastically changed since the creation of that document. And I'm starting to question, as are other counties, if it's actually HIPAA or if for some departments, they just simply need to be following confidentiality laws as they're written in Iowa code. So, I've been asking questions of a couple departments now for a couple of months, and I'm not getting good responses. And I'm not getting a good response from our ISAC attorney. Every time I ask them a question, they ask me, are they a healthcare provider, a clearinghouse, a business associate, or health plan? And until I can get one of those answered sufficiently, I'm not getting the assistance I need. So after our last meeting, we were, I'm not looking at HIPAA this week, but next week we're gonna talk about attorneys that specialize in that and see if we have that in a budget somewhere where we can get the answers that we need to move forward with who's actually a HIPAA covered department and who's not.
So the big goal is if they're not under HIPAA, don't put them under HIPAA.
Yeah.
So you want to keep out of that lane if possible.
And make sure that we're following all federal and state laws as they're supposed to be followed. So if they're not HIPAA, have we been neglecting or not looking at a law that we're supposed to be following? And follow that instead.
And under the old process, we just thought that it was probably safer to have anybody that is even questionable lumped in. I like
Yeah.
where you're going. I think Bob and Lily, it makes sense, more sense to make certain that they're.
It's just that HIPAA that's a very large manual and it's very time consuming. So if you don't need to know that, it's wasting everybody's time. I mean, there are other like confidentiality laws, even in state code, that are stricter than what HIPAA even is. And that's what we need to make sure that we know what those are and we're following those accordingly.
Well, it probably reduces our liability if we're lumping people into HIPAA that don't need to be there. And then something happens, it could actually be worse, so makes sense. Good luck.
So, thank you.
Keep
I
on
need
it.
it. Starting to make me go crazy last week, so.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Board and committee updates. I gave my HIPAA update.
Yeah, I think I gave it for you.
All I had was a conference board with the rest of you. So, didn't have anything else.
Giving the official, Scott and then Patrick from Meyer are working on kind of a plan B, I guess, an alternate on the building. Essentially, it would lop off the garage and the meeting room. So it would just be the stairs, elevator, lobby. Putting a concept together on that, they want to get a sketch, kind of rough sketch put together to present. Working through like what costs would stay, what costs would be deleted to create a budget number from that. So keep moving forward on that to carry on that conversation on the courthouse. Scott also, he discussed like part of the electrical cost and overages is the complete service panel was being replaced, and we're questioning if that truly needs to be replaced or if it's updatable. It's an older panel. Elsa Miller's here in town have worked on it recently, stated there's still sufficient parts availability to expand it. So we're questioning if we truly needed to replace everything, all the breakers and the switches, or if we could possibly just modify the existing panel and cover the needs of the courthouse, save some money there. I'll continue to keep you updated on that.
Great. My only other one was chamber, and we talked about concrete Revolution Concrete. They had their hiring show yesterday at Iowa Works, so kind of with my Iowa Works group, so that was down in Waterloo. And I haven't got an idea of how many people attended, but a lot of different jobs available there, so that's good for the public. Otherwise, yeah, that would be about it. I mean, we did talk about the 250th, and they were excited about our Flag Day event, so I'll be working on that.
Great.
And we got Landon here.
Morning.
Good morning.
Ooh, excuse me. Couple of funding agreements here. They are rather lengthy. The top one here, the gist of it is, this is for our V21 project next summer. This states that 1.5 million of that is coming from a surface transportation block grant. 1.5 million from that, which is awarded through the RTA. And most of the rest of this is just standard contract language. This is from Waverly to 188, so about 11 miles of paving. I reviewed it, I recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
We hear a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor for the board chair to sign STPSCC 009-104-5E09? All in favor, say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. That's been approved. We'll go to the next one.
Next one, the BROS, that is for Bridge 10-6 to the west of the Denver Quarry there. Excuse me. This is submitted for that CHBP grant we're waiting on an award for. This funding agreement would be to use our Highway Bridge Program funds to build that. If we get the CHBP, there will be an amendment to this agreement that says we can use those rather than our HBP funds. But this is essentially just to keep the project development going for now while we wait to find out on that grant. And so I've reviewed, and I recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Otherwise, we'll move this one. All in favor, say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye.
Okay, couple items relating to our CFYP. Reviewed some options for the two C-33 bridges west of 63. Kind of what we came up with are three options. Our current plan obviously would work, but that would have 2 summers closed. We could bundle them. That would likely give us our best price, but we would potentially run into a situation where we get some winter closures or late fall closures. So kind of what we came up with, our best option probably is to let both of them in the same letting, but not tie them together. That would allow, possibly 2 separate people to get them. It would keep the working days down. We would do no free winter work on that. That way if they do end up needing to work during the winter, they're getting charged for it. And it would still allow the possibility of a single contractor, reducing their mobilization bid. Since they're in the same bid, they could go low on both of them if they had the capacity to do it, but it wouldn't get us stuck with somebody that didn't quite have enough crews to get them both done in the one summer and have that work extend out. So that's probably our safest option in terms of getting the work done in one summer. That would be if we let that this December, that would get done next year.
We will definitely want to have a very solid completion date
Yep.
included in both of those.
Yep.
Rather than giving them an open window.
Right.
With penalties if they don't
Yep.
make a date, or.
Yep, and that would be the point of doing them separately is so we get more flexibility with completion day jobs. But by doing them separately, we could request an earlier start date and have the completion days run out earlier. And that way, if we have a lot of delays, the whole thing's not being pushed way back. So that would be my thoughts on that too.
Sounds like there's really not a great choice.
Right.
Other than that one.
Yeah. It's not, we would pretty much guarantee ourselves a better price with a bundle. This way we still are likely, I think, to get good mob bids because there's gonna be 2 of them in the same letting. But in terms of scheduling, I think this is far and away the best option is doing it that way. And even if we don't get, maybe we leave a small amount of money on the table for mob, there's a cost to having them closed over the winter too, as we've seen, so not just.
Well, and I think Corey mentioned it a week ago, the impact with Shell Rock up in
Yeah,
Hall.
right.
That road is definitely a heavy
Yep.
haul road.
For sure.
12 months of the year, there's a
Yeah.
lot of grain hauling through the winter.
Okay, we'll go that way. I will update that CFYP and bring that back for approval then with that shown. Let's see. Oh, we also discussed last week adding Ivanhoe and other potential projects to our long-range plan. I guess as I was going through that, what are we projecting? I mean, would we be thinking paving from 63 to 3 all along Ivanhoe? That's kind of what I planned out. or what I estimated, but I wanted to make sure that's kind of what we're all thinking on that one for a potential future project. That would be kind of your options. You could do that. You could go up Joplin to Ivanhoe and through that way. That would shorten the project. You're not coming so close to Denver then. You're kind of splitting the difference between Denver and Janesville there.
I get a ton of requests, mostly from the same 2 or 3 people, to hard surface what was started way before my time, and apparently back in the 40s, the
Okay.
road south. You don't even need to write this down, I'm just gonna tell you. The road that goes east out of Tripola over to V56 is apparently designated as a farm to market.
Yep,
And
165th or
some
whatever
folks
it is,
out
yeah.
there apparently were told years ago that they had done some widening in a bridge project somewhere that, it's all being done in preparation for that to one day be hard surface.
Okay.
I've always responded by saying, well, I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime. While it may be a good project, it's 2 miles off of 93.
Right.
And goes the same location and really doesn't, you know, the traffic between Tripola and Sumner already has a highway.
Right.
So I'm only throwing that out there for future reference.
Yep.
There are a few folks up there that feel that that should be accomplished.
Yep.
From a logistical priority, that road that you just described makes way more sense in terms of potential traffic. And
But that's a section that you bring up that we could, when we do traffic counts, would merit
Yeah,
traffic count, the
some
section by
additional
Tripola.
look
Then we
there.
can, you know, quantify the
Right.
need.
Definitely.
I thought, I mean, we were looking at Ivanhoe or a Grand paving project.
Yeah, kind of the route through there is, I guess, what I wanted to get a rough idea of for the, just for estimating purposes, to put that on a long-range plan to see how that fits. What that would look like, and that's probably another one that's gonna be, you know, based on some additional traffic studies, but just for long-range planning, wish list type looking at it.
can we make solid arguments still that converting a gravel road to a hard surface road is beneficial to long-term budgets? Or is that no longer a argument that can be made?
A lot of that'll depend what happens with our budgets here. This legislative session, if we gotta start making cutbacks, then we'll probably pull in and focus more on maintaining our existing system, but I would say that thought is a little bit up in the air. Lynn County bases it on traffic counts, as you know. They've found that, what is it, over 700 vehicles a day. It is conducive cost-wise to pave it. Now, none of our roads are in that ballpark. I think all these that we're talking about are in the 200 range, so they're a ways off from that.
Lynn County does a phenomenal job with seal coating.
Yep.
Is that a viable option for Ivanhoe between Denver and Waverly? Because
Possibly,
it clearly would be, what, half the money?
probably. I think, what was it about? Trying to remember our last quote. Somewhere around 80,000 a mile to seal coat. So significantly less than full depth paving.
I'll only say this for the benefit of my colleagues, but if we start seal coating it, that whole thoroughfare is gonna be ripe for rural development. And we know how popular that is. in
Right.
our county.
Maybe for now, I will just work up some options from that area for some different routes and some estimates and kind of stick them in that long-range plan somewhere and just, you know, kind of a wish list type thing, and then we'll, as we're going forward and see what our budgets are gonna look like, we can,
We could look at
Make some
about
of those
3
decisions.
scenarios as I look at the map and
Yeah.
maybe put total miles, grading costs, seal coating costs.
Yep.
And then maybe long term, maybe if we get started with a seal coat, knowing that that's not the end all, then maybe like this Midway project does show promise that we could come back and do a layer of millions to truly build a base and then seal over that.
Mhm.
I think it's phenomenal. You know, it's amazing how upkeep on seal coating really becomes a good project. 250th, I believe, is a phenomenal example of that.
Mhm.
You know, for years it was just kind of, it was seal coated, and then for years it was just kind of ignored.
Mhm.
And now we're doing it about every third year or
About, yeah,
so.
yep.
And all of a sudden it becomes a pretty viable road for
Mhm.
heavier and more traffic, so.
Well, I almost like that millions, I kind of wonder if you wouldn't, by having seal coat down underneath it, if you wouldn't capture it more, like
Oh, yeah.
spreading the load out
Right.
versus the millions just want to disintegrate and push into
Right.
gravel and it's
Yep.
soft.
Alrighty, so you got your plan, and do you, how often you like communicate with Lindsay on, you know, our comp plan and figuring out, you working in conjunction?
I would call it sporadic. You know, when an idea comes up, we talk, but it's not something like we sit down once a year or anything, but.
And you were included in the task force.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for the plan on the front end. So.
Good.
Okay, I'll run through some of those and just see kind of what those options would look like, and like I say, we'll probably base some of that future work on traffic counts. Another one, our hot in place job we discussed. Currently, we have 500 and just a little over 500,000 remaining in our lost budget. We have quite a bit more than that in our balance. But that would not cover the cost of C38 and T77 hot in place with asphalt over. So if we want to do that, we're probably looking at an amendment to that. Is that something we want to move forward with?
What's the total mileage on that?
3 miles, roughly estimated around 650 to do hot in place with asphalt over. Now, we could adjust that section over top to adjust that cost a little bit, but I believe that was with 2 inches over.
Cheap is never a good,
Right.
cheap in a project just
Right.
causes long-term problems.
We've seen that in the past.
So you have 500 left in the old lost balance that you don't
In
have
the-
spending authority.
Yeah, in the FY 20, the heck year is it, 6?
26.
In the FY 26 budget from that. We have more than that left in the old balance, but that's what was budgeted for this year. We've still got killdeer grading in Midway that'll come out of that too, at just high level, about 160,000. And so in order to do C38 and T77, we would need to add another 300,000 to that number.
I'd say get it done.
I agree,
Okay.
do it.
I'll go ahead and start, I'll get the plans out, hot in place, and we can do an amendment before we do the paving over top, because we'll be able to fit the hot in place under that existing budget.
So then in 600,000 was the potential to amend this year and or put in next year. I went ahead and put it in next year. Should I just do 300 in both?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay.
We'll have,
I'm gonna post this today, so when you get back, if you can
I will,
look at
yep,
it.
I'll run through it and I'll get you some
Okay.
better numbers. The only other thing I had, probably for a future discussion, but what I've been talking with some of the guys and several constituents through my many winters here. I think it may be time to take a look at our mailbox policy. Our mailbox policy specifically relating to winter work. We do not replace mailboxes if they're not touched by the plow. As we're getting bigger and bigger equipment, it feels to me like we're seeing more that are knocked off with snow. And we're currently not replacing those per our ordinance. But that might be something we want to take a look at and see if that still is fair to the general public. Kind of the general idea initially was that if the snow is knocking that off, it's probably not been maintained properly, and it's not fair for the taxpayers to replace that. As we're getting bigger and bigger equipment, I think we're probably throwing snow a little harder. Seems to me, I don't know this for sure, I haven't looked at numbers, but it seems to me like we're seeing an uptick in those. So,
Are we moving them back if we do it? Are we,
we gotta place them in accordance with the
Yeah,
postal
but-
service guidance,
the
so.
furthest back? Are we-
Yeah, most of them we are pretty close already. They've already been placed. But yeah, we do look at that.
Some of it could just be, I mean, a wet, dense snow is gonna have more energy.
Right.
It's being flung than a lighter
Yep.
fluffy snow, so.
I applaud you for giving consideration. I think that little bit of money that is.
Yeah,
And
right.
clearly, if I'm a rural resident and my sign gets knocked off by snow or the
Right.
machine, it doesn't matter. And, you know, you go out to get your mail and it's laying in the ditch and you
Mhm.
know it's a product of, no intention, of course.
Right.
Just an accident, but,
Yeah.
you know, I think the expectation is that, why should I have to pay for it? I
Right.
didn't do it, so.
We get that exact conversation at about 12 decibel higher volume
Yeah,
quite often.
as long as then, like I said, as long as we look at placing it at furthest. over.
Yep.
Most of the time, you're not even doing the post, you're just simply.
Yeah, quite often it's just the mailbox gets broke off or knocked off.
Yeah.
Ours is the post,
Yours post comes down?
our post is snapped.
Yeah.
We've got some, I'm guessing it is snow, but we'll fix it this spring.
So
Okay.
it sounds like we entertain it.
Okay. I'll put something together to present.
Check around, see what other counties.
Yep. I actually,
What the state does, and
I did look into that a little bit as I was thinking about this through the week. Quite a few counties are still using our same language, which came from a statewide snow ordinance that was proposed among the engineers whenever, I don't know when, a long time ago. There are quite a few that are starting to update. Todd Kinney, what the heck county is he? Clinton County has a really extensive one. And it's anywhere from ours to, that one's like 2 pages worth of considerations they give, so, and anywhere in between. But I'll dig through those and come up with a proposal, and we can discuss it and then go from there.
sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Lindsay. All righty, first we have a public hearing. Your motion go on public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the public hearing, to open a public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
And we are in public hearing on 2508.
This is to rezone Chad Lodette Hines parcel on the northwest corner of C33 and 63 from A1 to A2 for residential development. This is just the rezoning portion. I like to clarify that for people. This is not approving a major subdivision. You're simply looking at the land use of the parcel.
Okay. So Wes, are you here?
Yeah, represent the owner.
Do you want to come up and just
Okay.
make sure everybody can hear you?
Yep. Did everyone get the letter from Wade Smudlock,
Yes.
the neighbor? 'Cause that was brought up. And that's his crop ground, where before he couldn't drive through it because of the wet marsh there. Well, now he can, but, you know, if we get 8 inches rain back to back, I mean, there's gonna be water going over the pond. Like, it doesn't take any more watershed, this probably doesn't, but, you know, you can't stop Mother Nature on that. But I guess the driveway, that was a concern of the traffic count, and I went and checked, but if these figures are correct, the traffic count is 1,210 in that area, and 6 miles west, where there's another development going up, is a 1,170 traffic count. And where this driveway will be, it's like 700-800 feet from the intersection, so they're either gonna be accelerating or decelerating to the stop sign. So I don't think that's a concern of accidents versus, you know, you're gonna have accidents, you know. West of Denver, we got over 2,100 with, you know, 5 or 6 subdivisions west of Denver, and, you know, we accept it, and, you know, but how many homes will go back here? You know, I said 4 at least, but, I mean, if they can fit more, there might be 5 or 6, but I would say 2 to the north, 2 to the south for sure. But of this crop ground, 9 acres is, you know, not classified where it's not even cropped. You know, it's got trees, it's got a waterway coming from the north, it's got a waterway coming from the east that brings the watershed underneath 63. So Chad decided that if he could put in a pond and everyone can utilize it, that it make a nice subdivision between Waverly and Sumner or New Hampton, and, you know, and give people an opportunity to own an acreage, like we do see a lot of acreages on this C-33 where, you know, they can grow their own vegetables, their own farmer's market, you know, and that's what you're seeing. It's more and more people want more than 1 acre, which Bremer County went to, which I think was good. And if people are concerned always about the CSR, and I'm not, that's my opinion, but others are, but it's a 71.52 CSR. And, you know, the crop ground of CRP is like 1.67 million to 2.2 million is what I gathered. So about 10% of the crop ground in Iowa is in CRP. So it's not that, you know, I don't like taking cropland out of production. If it was a bare 160 pattern tiled, I understand that. But, you know, this is in an area that, you know, is broken up. If they put one home on it, you're not going to farm the other part. You know, it's hard to find people to farm 7 acres or 9 acre tracts. I've got one of them south of Denver, and it's been hay for over 10 years, and farmers don't want to deal with it, or the co-ops. They don't want to go in there for a small parcel. So the water situation to me is a benefit, and I think down the road this is going to be probably pushed of having some type of a buffer strip with, right now it's just grass, but, you know, and then a collection of the sediment in the pond. You know, with our water quality and river streams, I just think so many square miles, we should have something like a buffer area of water retention and grassland area. Where if all this crop ground becomes grassland, I mean, you're not going to have the erosion. It's going to be held. So, questions? Oh, the tax base, one more thing. Tax base is $864 per year, and I know everyone's concerned about revenue, and I just put a value of $5,000 per home, so you're gonna have, you know, 20 to 30,000 of revenue. Not just the county, I mean, the school districts, Hawkeye, everyone benefits with new growth.
Okay, thank you, Wes. Seeing no other public comment, can I close the public hearing?
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor of close public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're on the first reading of ordinance 2508. So do we hear a motion?
I'd move to approve first reading ordinance 2508. Only question I have is setting the date next week. I know you're gone next week.
Yep.
And I'm gone the following week. Do we want to hold off on a second reading, or do we? It doesn't seem to be that we've got a lot of public input on this. I think we could be okay moving forward. I just a little hesitant to not having a full board the next couple of weeks. So.
I'm okay, I can watch it.
Okay, I'll move to set the date then for March 10th.
Second the motion. I do have a couple of comments or questions. Regarding the CSR, I have no argument to that. I do feel that the high traffic volume and I went there this morning and I took some time and checked it out on my way in, and because I knew that was a issue with the planning and zoning. And I personally haven't worked in law enforcement for many, many years, have no issue with. I was concerned about where the road was entering and exiting from C-33, thinking it was a little further down the hill, which would make it a little bit of a blind spot. It's far enough away from the actual intersection that it's really not problematic in my mind. I never worked an accident that far back from the intersection. Ironically, I was involved in an accident at that location, but not my fault either. What did Mr. Halbach mean when it wasn't optimal location for development?
Was it or was?
Wasn't.
Not sure on that, but he did clarify that I think he just meant that intersection, but where it's located halfway in between New Hampton and Waterloo, if you have you know, family members who work at one or the other. You just hop on and go and still have your rural homestead.
Okay, that's all I had.
But he ended up voting
For
yeah.
I appreciate your perspective on the law enforcement side of it, Dewey. That was kind of the question I still had lingering on.
Yeah, I think for me, Dewey, same thing. I mean, the line of sight, as long as there's no trees and stuff like that, you know, develop right at the entranceway and make sure there's a good line of sight. Should be nice, and it's, yeah. Yeah, that's a little concern on that, but it looks like he put a nice pond in so far. It looks like it's gonna be somewhat nice area, so. I understand the planning and zoning, but didn't like it, but
I do want to confirm there will be absolutely no driveway onto 63, correct?
Yeah, that is not allowed, and then,
Okay.
once this does get developed, that existing field drive, that will have to go away.
Okay.
That will be eliminated, yep,
That would have been my
yes.
breaking point. 'cause
DOT
that would
will-
not be safe.
DOT will not allow that.
Okay.
Correct.
And like you said, this is just going from A1 to A2, and later on, we'll see a development plan.
Yep, that's when we further discuss drainage, driveways, infrastructure. That's when those details are hammered out through the preliminary and final plats.
And right now, it's labeled as a gravel, but if it's gonna be a subdivision, it would not be gravel, right?
So the plans right now are for it to be a private road,
Okay,
so it would not be maintained by the county.
okay.
Well, we just need to make sure, Wes, that your client knows that if he ever has an intention for the county to maintain it, it's got to be built to
County
those
specs.
standards. You already know that, but please make
Yep.
sure that he knows that, because we've seen that change over the years, haven't we, Lindsay?
Yep.
Where it was, and Landon especially would tell you that, you know, they built it one way, but then it really isn't to spec, so.
Yep.
Any more discussion on ordinance 2508? Seeing none, we'll move ordinance, the first reading of ordinance 2508 and set the public hearing for March 10th at 10:15. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nays, and the chair voted aye. Okay. We'll go to the next one.
Move to open the public hearing regarding ordinance 2302. 2302.
Well, the ordinance is 2603, repealing 2302. I understood what you meant.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Got it.
We are now in public hearing. All in favor of open public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
We are in public hearing for ordinance 2603, which repeals 2302. No one's here, so move to close the public hearing.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. I was at a meeting, I don't recall where it was, but public hearings are supposed to stay open for a minimum of 1 minute. Is that anything that you've ever had to deal with at the,
I never
as
dealt
mayor,
with
or
it,
is
city.
that? We may want to get clarification on that, but to make sure that we're doing things right.
Well, I'm sorry. Have you heard of any public, you got any written?
No comments. There were probably 10 to 15 constituents at the P&Z meeting, just curious on what was going on. I explained the situation. Nobody was really upset about it. People obviously aren't thrilled with the situation, but they understand that our backs are against the wall at this point.
Okay.
We've done what we could, so.
So what was the information you provided them?
So the information was that the ordinance, Shelby County's ordinance, which is similar to ours, did not hold up in the Southern District Court, even though we're in the Northern District Court, the precedent is set, so, and there's also preemption involved in this with the ordinances and local ordinances don't apply. And I don't know where PHMSA's at with their rulemaking for safety and sighting, so at some point the state could even be preempted by federal regulation.
And after you provided that information, do they have any further questions?
They said, what's the next step? And I said, the next step is to keep hammering, be in contact with your representatives in Des Moines. That's the next step.
Okay. So no other further, I mean, you didn't receive any emails that you want to send to us or anything?
Nope, didn't receive emails, phone calls, letters, just a handful of people. They're concerned about the situation, but they also know the situation you guys are in, and it is what it is, unfortunately.
I did talk to another county official from another county over the weekend. They're choosing not to repeal because of the section of the ordinance that says, like, if any section of this ordinance is non-enforceable, shall not affect the other portions of it. And so they're standing on that to not repeal. And I would still caution us to side with what council recommended to us. They had not reached out to their council outside of their courthouse. So I think we're still doing the right thing here in this, going in this direction, just from a legal standpoint.
Well, 20 years from now, it makes it cleaner to repeal it and have it gone instead of
Right.
worrying about which part is unenforceable.
Well, I mean, Bob talked a year ago about maybe looking through our existing ordinances and cleaning stuff up. That would be one of those house cleanings that we're just avoiding by doing it this way.
And move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a first and second. All in favor to close public hearing for 2603, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are on the first reading of ordinance 2603. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve first reading of ordinance 2603.
Okay.
Set date for, or do you want to do a second action? We'll do a separate.
Okay.
I'll second.
Discussion on this, once again, you kind of laid it out, Lindsay, so.
I don't remember, maybe Corey or Lindsay do, but where does that pipeline go after it goes behind your place up there? Does it go straight across to 63, or where does it drop below C-33 at?
Just west of Bremer. I believe it's right in the mile immediately west of Bremer. It drops across.
So the subdivision, potential subdivision we talked about earlier won't be impacted by it?
Right.
What's gonna happen, I guess, not, it's relative, but not, but what would happen if, will people just not be able to make subdivisions in those areas then? Once the pipeline is there?
That's a great question. I don't think I have an answer for
And
that.
that was part of the argument, was the local control of usability of
Yep.
land, the value that it's
Right.
what we call reverse condemnation, essentially. And that, the merit of that has not been tested in the courts yet.
No, well, likely it
I mean, if there's a major development, they could reroute it, so,
would be. At the expense of the developer, I'm sure.
probably so.
We learned that in drainage district out of Gaston.
We're on the first reading of 2603. Any more discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of the first reading of ordinance 2603, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We approved the first reading. Now let's set the date for the second reading on March 10th at 10:15.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
We have a first and a second to set the second reading. All in favor of the second reading, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great. We're all now on the resolution of minor plat for the Mississippi Valley Corporation and Delaware Corporation, parcel F. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Hear a second? Okay, we're on discussion. Tell us about this one.
This one is just cleaning up the vacated railroad. Jeff Bretman farms all the land around it. So it's just transferring this parcel F to Bretman. The previous deed was outdated and needed to be updated in order to transfer that parcel.
So this sounds like a good option. There's another Mississippi Valley parcel, just a little bit to the north, and Is that one gonna be coming up sometime soon?
That I'm not sure. This one is just, I'm not sure who farms around that one. There's a couple other farmers in the area. So this is just for parcel F.
Okay. Could you look at, see what's gonna happen with that other one? At some point in time, or-
I can, I usually don't know what's going on until the plats come into our office, so we don't specifically reach out to
Okay.
property owners.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not our business to be involved in
Yeah, that's
encouraging.
a private issue
Right.
until it gets to my office with the plat.
You said this one was coming to an end or something?
So the original deed, when they went to start looking at things to transferring the parcel to Jeff Bretman, it had included, railroad to Waterloo. Well, that's why the survey came into place, because that's not a legal description you want on a deed.
Old railroad descriptions are very hard to read.
Okay. Okay. Great. Anything else for this resolution? Any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to approve the minor plat for Mississippi Valley Corporation, Delaware Corporation for parcel 10143000009. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Anything else?
Not today.
Great.
Before lunch leaves, I'm not here next Tuesday. Are you wanting to go all three readings for the zoning one?
I think we should.
Then I will make sure that that gets on the agenda. Your other one, if you have no public comment, sometimes you go ahead and waive that 30.
Yeah, those are always been different for,
Yep,
I
okay.
think it's wise to go all through.
Okay, back to the budget. You were going to have some,
It's there. It is on the second page. It is the tiniest little, it's like the last sentence.
okay, can you just read it? I can't find it.
So what I have on here is inflation impact to employee wages, materials, and goods. What would you like it to say? Last year it was increased expense to run county government or something similar to that.
Are you capturing software licensing and materials and goods? Or should we make specific note of that, considering the increases?
What I'd really like to have is an NA right there.
I'm guessing it would let me. I don't think it's gonna go over well.
No, I mean, because we didn't have an increase, that would be not applicable, but
Oh, got it, got it, got it.
above the. I don't think there is a perfect language to put there.
I can do increased,
Increased software costs, licensing cost, and other miscellaneous expenses, or?
well, wages is the bulk, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking I have to leave that in.
Yep. Comma, software license increase, comma, other miscellaneous expenses.
Okay.
Is that kind of what you guys want?
I think so. I'm content with that.
I suppose you can't put covering unfunded mandates from the state, or,
As you look through.
Kind of like twisting the knife a little bit.
well, you know, the reality is that some of our increases are largely due to the impact of what they're doing, and the same thing's going to happen with the property tax proposals if they're not really, really careful in
If you
their
look
wording.
through what I
I
sent
read
you,
through what you
those
sent to
proposals,
us, and it's,
A lot of what they're going to do for exemptions and things like that are not gonna be backfilled. We're just gonna eat them, and if the one goes through and it's age 60 and older, that's huge. Bremer County is not a young.
I think I brought that up
county.
last week.
We are an older county, we have rural farmers, we have, yeah, it's gonna be huge.
There will be massive layoffs. That's the only way you can deal with it, because salaries are such a huge part of our budgets.
Do you want unfunded mandates included in your language? I'm more than willing to add whatever you want.
I like that suggestion.
I got two. Bob?
Yeah,
Okay.
Come on, Bob, poke the bear.
and there you specifically, the back to blue, that's the one that you're specifically.
There's others.
talking to.
There's others.
There's others.
Yeah, but in our budget increases, which ones would you highlight?
Which you may be asked to do when we have this
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah, back to blue would certainly be one of the large ones.
I could go back, I had put a list together, what Pat had asked last year for one, and I put a list together of a few items I'd emailed.
Yeah, well, I don't know if any.
General assistance would be another one, with how some of the things formerly covered under mental health is no longer covered under, I don't know how much usage we're seeing. Some counties, it's a lot.
That budget decreased.
More. So.
Just because we shifted utilities.
Well, and just keep in mind, general assistance, Veterans Affairs, the actual line items that are for providing the services, those dollars are very minimal.
Right.
Because we are a payer of last resort.
Yeah.
It's the administrative cost typically that's the bulk of those budgets.
20 years ago, the general relief was just a sideline of an employee with a larger function. Now it's become, what, a 40% entity?
Yes.
Sounds like it's still being wrestled with, but another one is the contract with ISAC to continue to provide this software for, that used to be covered under mental health, and now it's.
The
CEN?
CSN.
Yeah, CSN, and now we have to pay for it, and, we don't even know for sure what services are gonna be offered for it, but we know that there's gonna be some, and at least in the short term, we have to continue, so.
Funding gaps attributable to regionalization efforts?
Now you're really getting specific.
All right, are you clear?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we'll go to the papers today for next week.
fantastic. And once again, next week I am in Des Moines, so I'll be out. So Corey will head up the meeting. What's on the agenda?
Next week, I don't think I'll do, let me just take a look for you.
We got a bunch of stuff for Lindsay.
Yes. She'll have her second readings. And then Langdon, as of right now, that's it.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.